Hi everyone, welcome back to another video. Today's video is going to be another weekly vlog where I'm going to be sharing lots of jobs that I'm getting up to in the garden and the flower farm. I do have quite a lot coming up this week, so it's going to be a very busy week in the garden. It's Monday today and I am just taking a quick walk around the flower farm and the garden just to see what the flowers are looking like, because I am going to be doing a really large harvest this afternoon. So I'm going to be picking lots of these zinnias behind me, as well as some cosmos greens, and just whatever else I can find in the garden. I have a new place that I am going to be trialing selling my flowers this week, so fingers crossed it goes well. But for that I'm going to be delivering 6 bunches tomorrow, so I need to pick them this afternoon and then make them probably early tomorrow morning and then deliver them. But the flowers are definitely looking very lovely. I'm so excited to use a lot of these beautiful zinnias in the arrangements, and I do have some dahlias that have been blooming, so I'll add those. And yeah, I think they're going to look really pretty. I have a lot to do in the garden behind me, the cottage garden. I kind of do want to do a garden tour before I tackle it though, just to show you what it looks like at the end of summer. It's very wild, it's very crazy, things are dying, weeds, all the good things that happen at the end of summer. So maybe I'll tackle that later in the week and get a garden tour filmed of that first. And I have a lot of garden bed prep to do in the flower farm. This morning I have just been washing buckets, went to the new place where I'm going to be selling flowers, had a chat to them, and I've actually just been waiting until it gets a little bit cooler, which it kind of is now, before I can head out and do some work out in the garden. But first I need to go and grab my water bottle and my AirPods to listen to some podcasts, and then I will be ready to work in the flower farm area. And I will also share the harvest that I'm going to do this afternoon. So hopefully it is going to be a fun vlog for you all to watch. Make sure to give it a like if you do enjoy these videos, and subscribe for lots more garden content. So I thought I would do just a little bit of a voiceover to kind of chat through what I was doing on this day in the flower farm area. The first thing that I had to get rid of was this here. It had just gone crazy. I didn't know what it was at the start, but I'm pretty sure this is a weed. I think it's Chenopodium album, but please do correct me if I'm wrong. I think it's also called fat hen or goosefoot, lamb's quarters. There's so many different names for it. I'm pretty sure that's what it is, and yeah, I'm getting rid of it from the garden because I don't need weeds in my garden that are going to set seed and just take over the whole garden area. I'm not too interested in thoroughly weeding my flower farm area. You'll see that I do have weeds, and to be honest, I physically cannot keep on top of all of them. It's just not possible. So I do the bare minimum and just make sure that generally the plants aren't overtaken. I definitely do need to get better at weeding the pathways and just making sure that the beds don't get out of control like this one here after the plants are done. So I had a lot of snapdragons planted here, and I think I do want to plant snapdragons here again. I used some chicken wire just to support them when I was really in the early stages of starting this flower farm. I really don't like this, and I'm not going to be doing it again, that's for sure. But we do have a bandicoot that lives on our property somewhere, probably more like a few families of bandicoots, and they do like to dig up really small seedlings, so I do need some protection for my seedlings. I'll probably from now on just go with these hoops here and put netting over them. That works a lot better, and it's so much easier to remove and just take care of. I think in this section I'll either be planting the snapdragons like I said, or I will be planting some lemon basil and seeing how that does over winter. I want it to be in kind of a sunny area, and once the cosmos is done next to this, it will have quite good sun because it's the highest garden bed, so we'll see how that goes. I do have one feverfew plant in here that's getting just overrun by some weeds, so I'm just trying to tidy this up a little bit and experiment to see whether or not I can perennialize this feverfew and just what happens over winter with it. I just want to see how it goes and whether or not I get really nice strong blooms next year. We'll see what happens. And then just removing all of this beautiful lovely grass that is overtaking the garden beds. What I also need to do, again, I have so many things on my list, but I need to just put some cardboard on the edges of all of the garden and the flower farm area, just to make sure that these weeds don't encroach and come in, as you can see that they already are. It's something that I'm always going to be battling. I don't really want to use weed mat. I want my garden to be really green, and it's just a personal preference, but I honestly, like, if you use weed mat, good on you. I just don't prefer using that in my garden. So I'm just manually removing some of this grass, and eventually I'll get along to making some borders around the flower farm and just put some mulch over it so it's a little bit more aesthetic to look at, because as you can see, the cardboard in the corner of this shot isn't amazing, but you got to do what you got to do. So this bed here is where I had some green manure. I had some brassicas planted, and then I tarped them for quite a few months actually. It was at least 2-3 months or so, and I let it solarize, break down, and turn into mulch basically. This green manure patch I had definitely left too long. You can see the residue that's left. It's quite thick, a lot of the stems, but I think this is actually going to work really well as mulch. We are still having some hot days, and I need the seedlings to be protected and the water to hold. So I'm going to be planting zinnias in this patch. I'm doing another planting of zinnias because we won't get frost here for quite a while, so I should get another round of zinnias. Actually, up in the top part of the garden, I grew zinnias all year round last year, so I'm going to actually try that again and see how that goes. But yeah, I'm just going to be planting 2 rows of zinnias in this one row and seeing how they go here. Just by pushing aside the mulch, I can create a little hole, and then yeah, the green manure can then act as mulch, and I don't have to buy any in. It's really effective. I don't have to cart mulch around, and I can just really have this in situ mulch system where I'm providing nutrients and mulch back into the soil, which is eventually going to break down and just create more soil. So it's a win-win situation. The other area, this is the other side of that garden bed. I'm just continuing on those zinnias. This is where I had a lot of green beans planted as green manure. You can see that they have they've just broken down a lot quicker, so that there isn't a lot of mulch on the surface. Next time I do this, I think I'm going to plant straight away into this type of green manure once I cut it back, because then it's going to have the properties that I want from the mulch, which is all of the material that's then going to act as moisture retention. Basically, it's going to hold the moisture in the soil. The next job I was doing was cutting back all of this buckwheat, and then I started cutting it back, and I kind of just was looking at the flowers, and they just looked too pretty not to try out using them in arrangements. So I'm just snipping a few and popping them in a bucket, and you'll see I actually do use these later in the video. They looked amazing in arrangements, and it's something that I think I'm going to incorporate a lot more in future, is using things like green manure in my arrangements, because they looked absolutely beautiful. And yeah, I only needed a few. The rest could go back as green manure to the soil. They grow super quickly. Buckwheat is just one of my favorite green manure varieties to use. And because we're really low in phosphorus, this soil, green buckwheat is kind of a natural bioaccumulator of phosphorus. So we'll see how our soils change over the coming months. So this is what I was talking about with what I wanted to do with the beans, was actually just plant straight into after when I've cut the green manure back. So similar to all of the green manure that had dried, here I am just making little holes around the green manure and just planting straight in. everything around that little seedling is going to break down over time. And this is what I mean, where I really don't need to bring in any mulch because there's already material on the surface that is breaking down and slowly adding nutrients back into the soil. But because I, want to capitalize on the space that I have, I really can just plant straight into the ground here. And the plants or the material that's on the top is just going to break down as the zinnias grow. So zinnias are a really fast growing crop as well, which is great that they'll grow really quickly and kind of create its own little canopy over the soil. So once this mulch breaks down and bare soil is exposed, hopefully these plants will be tall enough to create a canopy so that there's not a lot of exposed soil to the elements. So this is what it looked like after I was finished the planting. You can see the little hole that I've made and then the small zinnia seedling. These are really, really robust seedlings. I find zinnias really great to just grow in a big tray and then just separate and plant straight into the ground rather than individual punnets. Just seeding the zinnias in a tray is just so much easier. And this was the other bed. They're all nice and tucked away in there, and I'm finding that this green manure is really holding the moisture. Over the week I've noticed I haven't had to water this a lot, and I'm really impressed with it, so I'll definitely be doing this again. So the rest of the afternoon I was just harvesting flowers for those arrangements that I was taking to the garden centre. So mainly I was focusing on harvesting zinnias as my focal flowers. These are just looking so beautiful at the moment, and I remember when a few months ago when they were just covered in powdery mildew and the plants looked really, really sick. I gave them a really harsh cutback where there were almost no flowers, really small plants, gave them some food in the form of sea salt, just seaweed, organic, liquid fertilizer, and they have bounced back so well. I really do find cutting zinnias back down really harshly as they grow is super important just to create healthy plants, and then you get beautiful blooms from that. I have so many different beautiful zinnia colours and they are just such a happy flower. I love the orange varieties and a lot of the queen lime. They're definitely my favourite that I'll be planting a lot more of. But yeah, I thought I would just kind of add some nice music here and let you enjoy the harvest. I was just listening to some music the whole time, and it is my favourite part of having this flower farm. It's just being outside in the cool afternoon and picking the flowers. I add them straight into the bucket and let them hydrate overnight, and then the next morning I will be making the bunches, which you will see. And then after that I have a little chat and then we get back into picking more flowers just for a little posy that I wanted to have on my dining table just to brighten it up a little bit, and then kind of wrap the video up with a little bit of a chat. So I hope you stay along for that and just enjoy this little harvest of some flowers. Good morning everyone, it is Tuesday now and I have been so busy all morning. I haven't really even had time to have breakfast yet. I just had a banana and that's gonna have to do for now. I'm gonna go and run these down to the garden centre where I'm selling them. I kind of had an off morning because I had a little bit of insomnia last night. I just couldn't sleep, so my brain's not really functioning that well this morning. But they turned out okay. Some of them are better than others, but they still look beautiful, and I think they'll provide a pop of colour, which is kind of what the garden centre is looking outside the very front of the shop. So yeah, I'm gonna run them down and then I'm gonna come back, and I have a lot of leftover flowers, so I'm thinking of putting something together for my Uma, going to visit her today in the nursing home, and maybe just do another little arrangement for the receptionist because they're super lovely there, and yeah, got lots of leftover flowers. So I've just taken some photos, which is another big thing that takes up time, just to get some photos before they've got to go so that I have some marketing material. But yeah, I can see there's bees and bugs already on them, so I'm going to run these to the car, head off and see what else I get up to today. You're kind of just in the way a little bit. Okay. Alright, so it is definitely a few days later now than when I filmed me picking and harvesting all of the flowers. My Uma really enjoyed the little posy that I put together. And to be honest, the rest of the week I actually did film. I filmed a lot of like tomato harvesting and tomato preserving and a few other things that I got up to throughout my week and in the garden, but I've been editing this video and it's getting really long, and I just feel like the tomato preserving doesn't quite fit with all of like the flower content. So this video now is just going to be kind of like a week in the flower farm instead. And I thought I would wrap up this video just by making another little jam jar posy, kind of what I made my Uma, just sharing and talking you through the process that I actually put some of these together and how you can create one in your garden. So I just went out and you would have seen me harvest some flowers before. Scott was just helping me do a bit of filming. So I'm going to put this together, and while I do that, I'm just going to chat about a few other things that I got up to in, or kind of regarding the flower farm this week. Annie's gonna help out. She's really interested in what I'm doing right now as well. I'm gonna start this out how I did with the other one, which is by using buckwheat. This was my cover crop and it's gone to flower, and the plan was to use it as a cover crop as well as like a filler flower in arrangements. And buckwheat is really great, it holds really well in water. So I'm going to be using this as my greenery. So when you're making a jam jar posy, the number one thing that you want to do is have bulk greenery or filler flower. And that usually is things like, it can be buckwheat like this, feverfew is a really great filler flower, yarrow, lots of volume. And that's going to allow the flowers to hold a lot better. If you have a lot in the middle, you can kind of fit in flowers around it. It's just going to give all the flowers a little bit more support. So I'm going to fill up this with buckwheat, and it's looking a little droopy at the moment, but it will rehydrate. I only picked this like a few hours ago, so this will rehydrate overnight. I feel like I haven't really sat down and had like a chat on my videos. It's a lot of me doing things and then me doing voiceovers, so I thought it would be nice just to have a chat this afternoon about kind of how I'm feeling with the flower farm and what else I've been doing. I am planning on doing a video sharing my first month selling flowers, so how much I made, how I was feeling about that, where I was selling flowers, things I would do different in an upcoming video. But I thought for now I could just generally have a catch up with you all. And the dogs stop barking next door. The main thing that I have been working on this week is my website. So I have actually not been feeling fantastic over the last few days. A lot of the time it can seem like people have everything together, and I really didn't this week. I had a lot of breakdowns, I'm not gonna lie. Nothing major, just me, stepping over hurdles, learning how to start a business, all of that side of things. So I'm using Squarespace to start my website, where I'm hoping to have that done fairly soon, but I am just trying to create like products on the website so that people can pre-purchase the flowers when I do deliveries. So I'm just trying to get my head around that and have a really nice, clean and simple website. So I'll let you know the website address and everything when I make it live. But I've just been sorting out things like with Squarespace, you obviously need a domain name, so I've been sorting that out, as well as an e-commerce site, which is quite expensive, I'm realizing, trying to figure out whether that's worth it or not, which I think I will end up going with it. So that has been taking up some of my time, just getting my head around all of that, because I don't have a background in anything to do with technology basically. So yeah, trying to learn that, and I've been enjoying it when it goes well, let's just say that. I have also been looking at getting insurance. So we're starting up, we have been having markets, but I haven't been the one running the market stall so far, and I will be doing that very shortly, is starting my own market stall. So I bought insurance the other day, which is something that a lot of market stall holders do need if you want to run and start a market. So I've had to purchase that over the last few days. Oh, what else have I been doing? Oh, and I had to put together all of like my signage for the market. So I have been using Vistaprint just to print some signs. I have a outdoor vinyl banner coming that I can hang up on the canopy of the market stall, as well as business cards, and what was the other thing? Stickers. I needed more stickers for my arrangements. So I'm slowly realizing, which I knew, I'm just slowly realizing how much money goes into starting a business and a flower farm, and I'm by no means, going into debt or anything like that. I'm doing this, I'm trying to kind of cash flow it all, which basically means using the money that you have rather than taking out loans or dipping into major savings and things like that. Okay, how's this looking? This is looking nice and full, but in my opinion, it's just a little bit tall. So I'm just going to trim these a little bit. There we go. I think that's good. And then I am just going to start building this up. So I have some feverfew that I'm probably going to pop in the middle. Feverfew has definitely been my favorite filler flower to use. That's what it looks like up close. And I just think that it brings any arrangement together really well. That's another thing I've been doing, is ordering seeds. I have all of my autumn and winter seeds that have arrived. So I'm going to do another video on what they all are for the flower farm. And then also another one for some veggie seeds as well, things that you can plant now. I'm really excited for autumn and winter because I'm hoping that I can have things available all year round, whether that be fresh flowers or dried flowers. I'm not too sure how that's going to go just yet, but we shall see. What I'm doing now is just building up the center of this a little bit more. So I'm popping in some yarrow, which is those pink ones, around the feverfew. And then I'm going to pop some zinnias kind of around the outside to really bulk it up. So yeah, feverfew and yarrow is a must-have in my opinion. And then I have some stardust over here that I'm also going to pop in. Stardust has also been a lifesaver. This one's not looking too beautiful, but this is just for me, so I'm just going to add it in just to also bulk it up. What I don't use of the stardust now, I am drying for dried flowers over winter. So I'm always picking stardust and always wanting to have that on hand. It looks really beautiful in arrangements, and if I can't use it that week, then I just pick it for dried flowers, which is working really well. Alright, so that is looking nice and full in the middle. The buckwheat hopefully is going to perk up in a little bit. It is very warm, so don't blame it. And then I'm just going to place the zinnias around the outside and then just fit them in to see where they look good. Usually I like to start with some of the bigger ones so that they take up the most space, and then I can fit in the smaller ones around them. Also making sure that whatever flowers I add in, that none of the greenery or the foliage is touching the water, or else it's just going to make the water a little bit dirty and murky a lot quicker than if all of these stems are nice and clean. And then I just have a few little billy buttons that I'm going to pop in. These are really cute, really pretty. Alright, and then that is the finished little jam jar posy. I think it turned out pretty well. And yeah, it's going to look really nice on our table upstairs. So yeah, I am really excited for lots of upcoming things that are happening with the flower farm. I really appreciate you all for following along, and I love connecting with you on Instagram. I love seeing all of the flower farms around me pop up, and if you are looking towards starting a flower farm, that's super exciting. I really want to create content that is helpful to people that may be kind of along the same journey with creating a backyard business or something like that. So definitely keep an eye out for an upcoming video. I'm just going to chat all things how the flower farm went in the very first month of selling flowers, and what my plans are for the coming months. It's really cool to just see the flowers out there, like in a physical store, people buying them and putting all of the bunches together, seeing people enjoy them, and then just dreaming of how this can grow, how I can grow the business a little bit more. I'm constantly just thinking about that, ways to kind of scale up a little bit, both with growing a lot more and selling a lot more. selling really doesn't come naturally to me. I'm a very introverted person who in the moment I'll kind of probably undersell myself a little bit, and I'm learning not to do that. I'm learning what prices are appropriate for farm posy bunches. The flowers are very different to flowers that you get from a florist. A lot of these flowers don't store well in a cold room, which is what a lot of florists will use, is fridges and rooms that are really cold. These types of flowers don't really do well, so they are marketed a lot different than florist flowers. So I'm learning all of that, and my pricing right now I think is pretty good, particularly for the ones selling in store, and I'm going to be trialing different prices and different size bunches. I'm yet to start branching out and learning how to do large bunches, so I really want to push myself over the coming weeks to make some larger bunches so that I can photograph and do marketing for them. I would love to look into providing flowers for weddings and events and women's circles, yoga retreats, things like that as well. There is so much that I'm looking forward to with the flower farm, but I also just wanted to check in with you all and finish off this video just with like this little chat of saying, you know, like it's not all of what you see on my videos. I really want to be real with you and just share that it is really difficult behind the scenes. I've had so many days where I'm struggling. I don't understand what I'm doing. I don't understand the website I'm trying to do, taxes, insurance, all that kind of thing. So yeah, I really want to keep sharing that here with you all, and so that I can help you out if you are in a similar situation. So if you do have any questions for me, always leave them down below in a video, and I'll either answer them in the comment section or I will answer via a video where I'll kind of chat through that if a lot of people are asking the same things. If you do have any specific questions for my upcoming recap video on my first month selling flowers, please do let me know as well, and I will cover those in that. I'll also put out a post on Instagram asking over there if anyone has any questions over there as well. But it was a really lovely week in the flower farm. I'm really happy with the flowers and just trialing different colours, different designs, and just being with flowers, because it's so beautiful being around them, but it's definitely it's a lot of hard work. So I don't show all the time when I'm covered in mud or like can't even open my eyes because I'm that tired outside. So yeah, there's a lot that goes into this, and I want to be very real and authentic on my videos as well. So I really appreciate it if you've made it this far in the video. I'm gonna go enjoy these flowers, pop them up. We're gonna get takeaway for dinner because we deserve it, and we've had a hard week and we just want to relax tonight. Maybe have a gin and tonic or something like that. We will see. But thank you so much for watching this video. Make sure to give it a like if you liked any of the content throughout this video, and subscribe for lots more garden content, veggie gardening, flower farming, cottage garden design. There's lots coming, so I hope that you're excited to see lots more videos. I hope you're having a lovely day wherever you are in the world, and until my next one, happy gardening everyone. Bye.